Welcome to the Direct Line, powered by 10Bet. I'm Nico Kratzeris. Coming up on today's show, first up, we'll speak to trainer Dean Smith, a young trainer who's just started his career off, and he started it with a bang down in the Eastern Cape. He's already trained a Grade 1 winner in the form of King Dundee. We'll be chatting to him about that, as well as his runner in Cape Town on Hollywood Bets, at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth on the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met Day. Later on the show, we'll chat to jockey Gavin Lerena. He rode one stripe to a brilliant second in a Grade 1 race over in America, and he is back in South Africa, and we'll be looking at that ride as well as his rides to come this coming Saturday too. And finally, we'll end up the show with a look at our competition here on the Direct Line, find out what happened last week, and also find out what's going to be happening on this week's show. Who will our contestant be to chase that 1,000 Rand 10Bet betting voucher? That's all on this week's edition of the Direct Line, powered by 10Bet. Well, one of our guests that I've been wanting to get on the show for a while now, and it's been a few weeks, but eventually we've managed to track him down, is trainer Dean Smith, who is operating obviously out of Fairview Racecourse, and it's a great pleasure to welcome him to the Direct Line. A very good day to you, Dean, and thanks very much for joining us. I know we've been trying to reach you for the last few weeks, but one thing or another, we managed to catch up with you now, and you're out on the training tracks, training your horses. Great to see, because it's mid-morning and all going well with you.
Yeah, thank you, Nico. It's a pleasure to be on the show, and a big thank you for the invite. And yeah, everything's going good this side.
Well, we can't not start with King Dundee and the tremendous win in the Grade 1 Cape Flying Championship, Dean. A tremendous achievement on your part. He was always going to be a top force to be reckoned with in a sprint race or 1,000 meters. And I mean, it must be a dream to win a Grade 1 race in your first 3 months since taking out your license.
Yeah, Uncle Nico, I mean, it still hasn't kicked in properly. It's still get some goosebumps when I watch the videos, and I'm sure it'll still take some time. But a horse like that, he's a super horse, and I mean, he just gives his best wherever he is, and I'm just extremely grateful that everything worked out to plan, and everything went our way, and I thought it was a brilliant ride by Calvin, and I mean, he was probably at 95%. He had some snot in his nose the morning of the race. I still phoned Clive, and I just gave him the heads up. I said, "Hey, Clive, I gave him some water." He put his nose down to drink some water, and he's got snot coming out his nose. Yeah, and then Friday night he didn't eat up too well, but thankfully all went his way, and he's a proper racehorse, and he's definitely a horse to follow for the season.
Just talking about Clive Murphy, I've had an association with Clive for a long time. I know he was behind the beginning of harness racing when they tried to do harness racing here in South Africa. Him and Mr. Latimer, I think it was, and he bred this horse himself, which is magnificent to breed a Grade 1 winner, let alone own one. And he must be on cloud 9.
Yeah, Uncle Clive, he's extremely happy. He phones me every day. And he bred Princess of Gaul as well. So she's King Dundee's sister.
That's it.
So the mare's a super mare. She's standing at Paardeberg now. She's got a foal in Durban currently. There's one in training in Durban. And Clive said he's doing really good. So he's extremely happy. He studies his breeding patterns and crosses quite hardly. And I'm just glad that it's paying off for him.
Do you remember when King Dundee first came to you guys, when your dad was still alive?
Yes, I still remember. I gave Clive a call when he won. I said, "Do you remember that horse when he came?" He says, "Yeah, he looked like a little spider. He had long legs, he had no girth, he had no hair, no forelock, and he was just this funny, skinny, long-legged horse that came in. And he had his legs weren't the best, and then he just fell out to be what he is today. He's turned into a lovely horse."
And your dad was very fond of him too. I mean, I remember when he won, I think he's won 8 races now, but I remember when he was winning his races down in Quebec, because I think I called him to 1 or 2 wins down there. He was always very complimentary of his racing style, the fact that he was very quick. And even Craig Zaki, who rode him for a number of his wins, used to say the way that even if he was slow away, he just used to quicken up well and eat them up close to home and win going away. He's a tremendous animal.
Yeah, he's got a heart of a lion. I mean, at track, you see that in him as well. You've got to slow him down, or else he's going to run his legs off. If he sees the horse 300 meters down the track, he'll try and catch it. So he's a proper racehorse. I mean, there was a win where he won. He stumbled out the pens in 1,000 meter. He had no right to win, and he just made up the ground and he won a really good race. So he's got heart, that horse. Yeah, and if we can just keep him sound throughout his career, I think we're going to have a couple more wins from him.
What's the plan with him now, Dean? What are you planning on doing?
Thankfully, he pulled up 100%. He pulled up extremely well. So we're prepping him now for the computer form sprint in April in Joburg.
Okay, so he's going to come up here to Joburg, eh? Which is fantastic. Yeah. And I know you've raided here in Joburg already. You've had a bit of a taste of what racing is like over here. It's been a baptism of fire for you. I mean, it's been 3 months since your dad sadly passed away. I know you were instrumental already in the stable there, so you're already really working in the stable full time. But to go out on your own and to achieve this much success in a short period of time must be very gratifying for you and the team behind you, guys like Francie Jacobs and all the guys that work around you down there.
Yeah, no, thankfully we've got a good team that supports us in everything that we do, and a good base of owners as well. And thankfully the rating has been going quite decent, and I'm extremely chuffed with it. So the hard work is paying off, and luckily we got some decent stock to do that with. So I'll be traveling more in the future. We've got some nice juveniles coming up as well. I'm extremely happy. So I think we're going to have some fun in the future.
Just one quick thing, Dean. If you had to take any one thing, overriding thing that your dad may have taught you over the years or said to you some or other time, what would that one thing be that remains in your head and in your heart about your dad?
Yeah, but there's many. But I mean, you just said for him, his love for his family, I guess. I mean, he was a proper family man. For me and my sister, he loved us to bits. So he's a champion, and I do miss him a lot.
He trained a horse for me. I think you weren't even born yet, maybe. But he trained a horse for me called Got the Hots, and I think he did pretty well with him down there. I remember him very, very well because he was such a gracious guy and always a humble guy, a man that accepted the wins and accepted the losses at the same time, always laughing at the end of the day. And I think were you there that day? Did he have 8 winners that day that he had on a day, or 7? 7 or 8 winners on the day?
Yeah.
Seven
Yes.
winners. He had 7 winners. And I even did a little snippet of him on Instagram, I think. I called that day.
Yes. Yes, it was Algoa Cup Day. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
That's right.
We had some good horses on the day that won, and we were still, I think we ran second in Algoa as well. So we had an extremely good day. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Algoa Cup because I want to talk about Zatara Magic, who won the race towards the back end of last year. And that happened shortly after Gavin passed away. Well, he runs on Saturday at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth in the Grade 3 race over 2,800 meters, the New Turf Carriers Western Cape Stayers. Talk to us about what you think of his chances.
Uncle Nico, he's doing extremely well back at home, and he's a galloping type of horse, and he's also he fights to the line. Craig's also rated him quite a bit. Chad's rated him a bit. Chad said he'll go with most days in the country. So with him, he's fit, he's well. I think it's just on how he travels, because he can be a bit of a nervous type of horse. And we saw the change in him since we put the compression mask on him. He's won 3 in a row since. So on the race day, he's a lot more relaxed, and he just brings it to the races now. So I do feel with him, I'm expecting him to be top 3. He's extremely well, and we can hope for a big run because Craig does know him the best.
Yeah, he travels down when exactly, Dean?
Thursday night. He'll leave Thursday night at 6:00.
Okay, so when does he arrive down there? It's a long trip.
Yeah, it's normally around 10 hours. They'll have one stop, so he'll get there around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, that's on Friday morning, and then runs on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
Friday
we wish
morning.
you all the best. I mean, it's an amazing day to have a runner. I mean, you could very well have another winner. I mean, people know you now to take you seriously. They're not going to allow you to start at huge odds like King Dundee started at. And We're looking forward. I'm looking forward to catching up with you there because I'm down there for the weekend. But I just wanted to thank you for your time. Also, for just congratulate you at such a young age for showing signs of a true professional. It looks like you've matured in a short space of time. I don't know if you know the story about Mike de Kock. He was given the string of Ricky Howard Ginsburg back in 1989 when Ricky suddenly passed away, and he had his grade 1 winner very shortly thereafter, also called Evening Mist. It sort of reminds me of that story, but I think it's just wonderful to see you having great success, not only in your home province, but also all around the country. And Dean, just all the best to you, and may it go from strength to strength. And thanks very much for joining us on the Direct Line this morning.
No, thank you, Uncle Nico. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.
That's Dean Smith there talking to us from his home base of Fairview. Well, our second guest on the Direct Line today is a man that certainly lays claim to being the most popular guy on our show, because he comes on every other week because there's always something to talk about with Gavin Lerena. And this week is no exception. He's still a bit jet lagged after coming off a flight from America. But it's great to have him on the show again. And firstly, congratulations, Gavin, on what a wonderful job you did aboard your horse One Stripe in the Pegasus Turf Invitational, which was run this last weekend at Gulfstream Park. It was just wonderful to watch, cheering you on. You nearly got there, but you were just denied. But at the end of the day, you must be well pleased to have gone over there, not only represented the team of One Stripe, but represented us as a country.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, Nico. It was, look, it's bittersweet because I went there with a mission. Yep. And the mission was to win. We didn't win, but I think it's done a lot for South African racing. We really didn't go down without a fight. And I just think it's done fantastic for the country. And I'm just so pleased that the country were behind us all the way, and the future looks bright.
So you were obviously told quite a bit ahead of time that they were going to change their strategy. This is now Hollywood Racing and Rikesh Sugalim own One Stripe, and they had various American riders on. And with some relative success, but at the end of the day, they wanted to go back to their go-to guy, Gavin Lerena, who rode him in those big feature race wins down in Cape Town when he was 3 years old, and go back to basics and say, right, let us take on Gavin Lerena to go around the world with this horse, and it's a true South African package from start to finish. Were you a bit surprised with that, or were you quite happy that they'd made that decision?
Look, I've always been hopeful. We must remember that, I was blessed that the Hollywood team did ask me to ride him and Rikesh in the breeders, which was a couple of months back. But obviously, I was on a suspension, and the timing just wasn't right. So, look, I was hopeful to get back on boarding, and when I got the call, I think it was New Year's Eve or Boxing Day. I'm not 100% sure when Anthony gave me the ring. It was wonderful. It was great news. It was music to my ears, and I always loved being on the international stage, and it was great to get the call up again.
So tell us about the trip over. I mean, what were your expectations like before you flew over? It must have taken you quite a bit of time to get eventually to where you were going. I think the race course is actually is it in Florida? The race course is positioned. So how long did it take you to get there from the time you left, for example, from the time you left home to get there?
Yeah, look, I don't want to work it out till I might feel more tired, but I took a 2-hour flight to Cape Town. From Cape Town, I then flew to Atlanta, which was 16 and a half hours, and then jumped on a plane from Atlanta to Miami, which was a 2-hour flight. So it was quite a bit of traveling, but it all went well.
And when you got there and you first saw One Stripe after the great relationship you've had with him in his career, what was it like seeing him again? Did you feel Did you feel a tear coming to your eye? What were your feelings when you first saw him again?
It was very special. The first time I saw him, he was actually eating his breakfast, and I got into his box, and everyone was like, "Whoa, be careful! He'll bite you, or just be careful." But I mean, the minute we saw one another, it was a feeling you can't explain. It was just like we were meant to be together, and we were reunited, and I'm sure he was very happy to see me.
Did you get back on his? Did you get on his back at all before the race, or only race time?
Yeah, only on the race. So his final workout was on the Sunday. That was his final workout, and then he just stretched his legs a couple more times off that, just a canter. But you don't want to get too involved and just like something goes wrong. So we were there to watch him, do his easy workouts and that, and he looked like he was in a great space. But it would have been nice to throw a leg over him.
We've had Graham Motion on the show and chatted to him and met him because we wanted to find out who he was and tell us a little bit about himself. So he has been on this particular podcast. What was he like what were your first impressions? What was he like to work with over the days that you were there?
Wonderful man. Him and his wife Anita, they really took good care of me. I did ride a gallop for him. I think it was on the Wednesday morning. He prepared a gallop for me so I could get around their exercise turf track, which is very similar to Gulfstream. But they were very accommodating. They took good care of me, and they were great hosts.
And talk to us about the moment you got on him race time. You got aboard him to go out onto the course. What memories will you have of that?
Yeah, it was surreal. Just to be back on his back. I must say, once I climbed into the saddle and gave him a couple of strokes, we definitely reunited, and he knew I was on his back. He settled beautifully for me, and I was just absorbing it all. It was a wonderful moment, and especially to be back on his back. But it was pretty much like a dream. Everything was slow motion, and just really enjoyed the feeling of it.
The days leading up to the race, in terms of the pundits and the people that speak about it, you must have watched certain previews or just read in the newspaper or in different publications what they thought of your chances. What did everyone make of your chances there, and what do they make of you as an unknown rider going over there?
Yeah, it was. Look, there wasn't a lot of press around. But from what I heard was, he didn't perform in Canada, and he didn't perform in the Breeders, and he won a mediocre allowance plate the start before. So I think the emotions were mixed of, whether he was up to the Group 1 or not. But it's just nice that he proved them all wrong.
What was the jockey room like with the other jockeys there?
It was wonderful. I got to meet Mark Smith, the Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, I had a couple of chats with John Velasquez, lovely guy. Umberto, obviously, I've been with him in South Africa and Hong Kong. It was wonderful to see him again. He's such a great character, and unfortunately, he took a tumble a race or two after I got there. And he's, I spoke to him yesterday. He's recovering from a broken ankle and fibula. So wishing him a speedy recovery. And then obviously Ocean Murphy was there. David Egan, I know him from riding in England. So there were a couple of guys that I knew, but it was easy going on. I think a jockey room, wherever you go in the world, is more or less the same. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I think the Aussie jockey room could be a bit cold, but other than that, wherever you go in the world, the guys always welcome me.
And then the race itself. I mean, just to watch the race. I mean, just to, firstly, to witness the speed that they go throughout. I mean, it's 1,800 meters. It may be a short straight to come into, but it's those gates open and you flat out.
Yeah, it's a true run race. I mean, the speed was really on. It was nice. You know, it's nice to ride in a race with that type of speed in, because you can ride your horse and you don't have to ride the race, to be honest.
Yeah,
It was fantastic. Obviously, you watch. I mean, I watched all the horses' runs and that at least 3 times, all my competition. But you never really know until those gates open what speed it is. But it was great.
It's hard to imagine a Turfington 1,800 being run like that. On the Stadside track.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it'd ever work out. But you got caught quite well back in the race. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, you saw out the 1,800. You were always adamant. I remember you telling me you were always adamant this horse can go further than a mile. He was running on. I mean, 1,800 plus now is his game, and he come out of it pretty well. Your thoughts now on? I know he's obviously scheduled to run maybe in Dubai next during the season. But your thoughts now on what's next for him?
Yeah, so obviously Dubai is a talking point. It's in the middle, I think it's the middle of March or the 20th of March, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they'll let One Stripe do the talking. Graham did say that he did take the run well. But, you've got to see how he's going the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure they'll let him do the talking.
Well, I know you're back in the saddle on Thursday out at the Vaal, but the big day on Saturday, and you've got a very busy day, so you need to recover quickly. I mean, I just looked at the card. I got tired for you looking at how many rides you've got. I mean, there's 12 races, Gav. I think you're riding all except one. Is that right? All except the third race.
Just the long distance race I'm not riding.
So just tell our viewers and people watching this or listening to this, I mean, what are your best chances on the day? It's a tough day because if you're not in the Snaith camp, Snaith has got, I think, I wrote here, 43 runners on the day. If you work that out over 12 races, it's almost 4 runners a race, but you haven't got any ride for the top yard. So it's going to be tough. But if you had to single out like a couple of chances or your best winning chance of the day, where would you go?
I would start in race 4, Midnight Lady. She's a filly taking on the Colts, but she's well weighted in the race. Glenn Cotton was quite upbeat about her running a good race, and things went wrong for her last time. So I would put her in with a bit of an each way chance. And then great to be back on Fatal 4 again. She runs in the Mallorca. She's nicely drawn at 4. The last time I rode her, she won the Group 1 at Turfington. So looking forward to riding her. She's had 2 sprints, but if she comes back to her best form, she's got to be in with a chance. And then Cosmic Speed, obviously we're trying the 10 furlongs. Thank goodness he's drawn pole position, so it's going to make our trip a lot easier. If we can just get him relaxed just off the speed. They always say a good miler can win the Met. So yeah.
What sort of feel did he give you? What sort of feel did he give you last time in the King's Plate?
He gave me a good feel. I mean, his last 2 starts have been drawn really wide. Yes, we got him in good positions, but you got to work to get there. So his last run was, it was a great 5th. I think he's definitely come on since then. Sean's quite upbeat about him, that he's in a good space. So looking forward to riding him on the weekend. And then I ride Touched by Angels in the Politician. He's obviously not the best handicapped horse, but he gave me a real good finish last time. He was drawn wide in the 1400. I think it was on King's Plate Day. but he finished very strong. I think he's going to enjoy the step up to the 18, and I wouldn't leave him out of anything.
Okay, so looking forward to seeing you soon. I won't be at the Vaal on Thursday, but I'm sure we'll hook up again in Cape Town. This is globe-trotting Gavin Lerena at Gulfstream Park in Miami, Florida, one weekend. In Cape Town the next. Where will it be the following week after that? Who knows? The world's your oyster, Gav. Continue the great work in the saddle. Thanks very much for the wonderful ride on One Stripe, and we wish you and One Stripe all the best, and have a great day on Saturday for the Cape Town Met down in Cape Town this weekend. Thanks for joining us again on the Direct Line, Gav.
Thank you so much. It's always great to be on the show, and we'll see you at the races.
Hi, welcome back to the Direct Line, and it's now competition time. And unfortunately, last week, our contestant that came up against me, Craig Lowe, did not respond to all our communication through to him, either via WhatsApp or via email. And when you enter the competition, you put your name and number down. We've got to be able to contact you, and unfortunately he didn't respond in time. He was due to respond, but of course he didn't, and therefore that 500 Rand that we were going to give away will now be upped to 1,000 Rand, because no one won it last week. So 1,000 Rand 10-bet betting voucher is available to win this week. Now, this is the rules of the competition. We'll draw a name out the hat here from those people that have sent their name in. Remember, every week, just send your name and your phone number to our email address, thedirectlinesa@gmail.com. That's one word, thedirectlinesa@gmail.com. You send your name and your phone number in, and then you'll go as part of the draw. Once we do the draw and your name comes out, you'll come up against me to tip 3 races at a particular meeting on the upcoming weekend, and you have to either... Well, you've got to beat me, basically. You've got to beat the number of winners I tip. You've got 3 chances, 3 races to tip in. I've got 3 races. The tipping competition lasts over the last 6 races on the given meeting. And this week we've chosen the big meeting down at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth. So because there are 12 races, we operate for the last 6 races. So it's races 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The person that's drawn out will either get the odd races to tip on, which is races 7, 9, and 11, or get the even number races to choose from, which is numbers 8, 10, and 12. And you've got to beat me. If you tie with me with the number of wins, then the money gets carried over to the next week, where we add another 500 Rand. So that means that next week's pot will be 1,500 Rand as opposed to 1,000. So let's just dig in here and find out who this week's winner is. If you've entered the competition, it could well be you. And the winner this week is, let's draw it out, and I'll show you the camera the name. It is none other than Murray Barlow. So Murray, if you're watching this, we'll be in touch with you, and you'll be able to tip and to try and beat me at the tipping game. We'll empty all the others out behind over here. And now the question is, there's odds and there's evens in here. That'll be the next one. It's obviously on the big Cape Town meeting, the Met meeting in Cape Town. This is for Murray. Murray, you will tip on the even numbered races. Remember, the last 6 races are the races that we've chosen. So it's the even numbers. So it's races 8, 10, and 12 are your races. And just for interest's sake, if I dig in here, these will be my races. And this should actually say odds over here. There it is. It says odds. Therefore, I will do races 7, 9, and 11. We'll be in touch with Murray. Hopefully, Murray does get in touch with us, and he's got to tip by 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. We'll put his tips up on all our socials so you can see what he's tipped and what I've tipped. But unfortunately for Craig Lowe, he didn't submit his tips. Just for the record, I submitted my tips in time, and I had 1 out of 3 winners. So all he had to do was beat 1 and get 2 winners out of the 3. Murray, all the best to you. Thanks very much. And for those of you that want to enter the competition, you can enter. Next week, it may well be the 1,000 Rand, or rather 500 Rand next week, or it could well have jumped up from 1,000 Rand this week to 1,500 Rand next week. That's it for this week's show. Thanks very much for joining us on the Direct Line, powered by 10Bet. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our special guests today, Dean Smith and Gavin Lerena. And we'll join you again on next week's show. Bye-bye for now.